How's it going to all my Marvel fans out there? Welcome to the next episode on Sterling on Cinemas. That's Cinemas with an S. And today I'll be giving you my review on X-Men The Last Stand. Bub. But before I begin, if you are new to this channel or to this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment on the section below. And most importantly, click that bell to keep up to date with all things Sterling on Cinemas if you're on YouTube. And if you're on Instagram, don't forget to like, share, and follow me and leave a comment on the section below if you have anything to say. And share it on your story with your friends and families. Let's conclude to this final part of the main trilogy in the X-Men saga. So, X-Men The Last Stand sees the discovery of a controversial cure for mutations, leading to a turning point for all mutants. Like Wolverine, Storm, Jean Grey, Rogue, and Beast, and Professor Xavier, and many more. They may now choose to give up their powers and become fully human, or retain their uniqueness and remain isolated. Which one? War looms between the followers of Charles Xavier, who preaches tolerance, and those who follow Magneto, who advocate for survival of the fittest. The final installment of the original X-Men trilogy does things and goes places that the last two movies were not ready for. Trust me. But just because this is the case does not make The Last Stand better than the first two combined. In quality, that is. Again, you have an opinion, you're entitled to your opinion, but keep it to yourself. Or feel free to share it on the comments below. Right from the beginning, we see that this trilogy was trying to lead to two things. That is, the untapped potential from the dormant gene that lies within Jean Grey, and the lines being crossed between the ideologies of Charles Xavier and Eric Lenshaw. We have consistently been getting a lot of foreshadowing from the past two films about Jean Grey's dominating power that has yet to be unveiled. And this is the part of Jean that is dying to get let loose, while Xavier helps her control the uncontainable power. Or as Wolverine puts it, whenever you cage the beast gets angry. Bub. The line between the two mutant alphas' ideologies and logics cross when Charles Xavier dies at the hands of Jean Grey after he and Magneto discuss what is best for Jean and how to use her powers, her Omega level powers. There is an unrelation between the subplot and the main plot, with both applying to the mutants as a whole, but only one applying to the most powerful Omega level mutant in the roster. More powerful than Magneto himself. However, I have mixed feelings about the positions of these plot lines. They could have just stuck with one or the other, but one of these plot lines would have felt or been more necessary. The controversial cure storyline feels like a forced plot point because of the redundancy to reverse something that is irreversible. Like how are you going to be born with something? How are you going to have something inside of you that you're born with, and people suddenly come up with a cure for it? Like you can only come up with a cure for something that was created, not something that was formed on its own self-formation. But nonetheless, we were still treated to some entertaining action sequences that are more or less at the same quantity of the first X-Men film and the quality of X2, X-Men United. The members of the X-Men have felt more broken since the loss of Jean Grey, the supposed loss of Jean Grey towards the end of X2. But they start to become shattered after the arrival of the Phoenix Force inside of Jean Grey. This is the other alias that starts to take over Jean's power whenever she is no longer in control. The endangering essence of Jean's powers were mentioned and warned about once in the last two films. We've gotten a brief description of it in X-Men 2000, and we've gotten a glimpse of it. Like we've literally seen this unseen potential in a little scene in X2. We have heard it get explained in the first movie, and I've gotten a brief exposure to the power in X2. We finally see the Dark Phoenix Force in all of its glory here. I don't really think it's fair to call it glory, but you know, that's the way to put it. Jean Grey's transformation into the Phoenix can be seen as three things. The ultimate cataclysm for the X-Men, seeing how she is literally torn apart Professor Xavier and thus tearing the atmosphere among these mutants, including Eric. The prime example on what a mutant can appeal to be when they lose control over their respective power, and the justification behind why the cure is needed. It makes no sense as to why the cure exists, but you know, it makes sense. While the existence of a countermeasure towards a natural born trait makes no sense, it can still be useful against those evil mutants. Again, it should come as no surprise that the X-Men franchise, one of my favorite parts of this franchise, is how they will continue to bring more mutants into the mix. And we got a few fan favorites here who were thoughtfully casted. And I mean thoughtfully casted. Kelsey Grammer brings a lot of class and intelligence to the role of Hank McCoy, aka Beast, and makes for my favorite portrayal over Nicholas Hoult. And the inclusion of other mutants like Juggernaut and Pyro, who is now fighting alongside Magneto, Angel, and with Iceman and Kitty Pryde, aka Shadowcat, playing a more prominent role. This was the only other thing, aside from the Dark Phoenix storyline, that helped to give the X-Men film a sense of scale at the time. Rotten Tomatoes gives X-Men The Last Stand a 57% score. 57% of all critics recommend X-Men The Last Stand. While the third film in the X-Men trilogy has better stakes than the first movie and a few character developments that builds on the last movie, it might not have the best action in the original trilogy or the entire franchise in that matter, but the way the two plot lines go hand in hand definitely work for me, that is. I will give it 8.2 SOs out of 10. So with this trilogy, since we are now finished with this trilogy, but not the franchise, because we still have a long way to go, but each of my ratings for these three entries are like two numbers apart. So like, you know, I gave the first X-Men an 80% score. I gave it a B. I gave both X2 and this a B minus. So X2 has 8.4 SOs, and then this has 8.2. So I like X2 out of all three of these, out of these three movies. But y'all can let me know what y'all think about this trilogy out of the overall franchise from the X-Men. And y'all can let me know what your favorite moment from this trilogy is. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with my Tyler Perry review. Nights.